Hi, I'm Walt Medlin. I'm going to narrate today an animation of a duodenal switch of the loop type, which is a modification, and I'd like to thank Dr. Mitchell Roslin of New York for use of this animation. We're going to start here looking at the stomach and the common bile duct and pancreatic ducts and just show the anatomy of parts and pieces that we need to avoid working on directly, and that is particularly where the bile duct empties into the duodenum. Just below the stomach here, that first little part of small bowel is called the duodenum. It's kind of a C shape. The old duodenal switch operation hooked up to this as well, but now we are hooking up with a loop of bowel rather than an end of bowel. You're going to see here initially making a smaller stomach, which is a sleeve gastrectomy. And a lot of people just have the sleeve gastrectomy as their only procedure, but it generally doesn't give as great a weight loss as we see with duodenal switch. Along this dotted line, we're going to divide with a stapler, and we're going to take this football-shaped stomach and turn it into a banana-shaped stomach. That's part one of the operation right there. Now, we go below this pyloric valve, which you're going to see in a minute here. That's the outlet of the stomach. Right there is the pyloric valve, and we need to be between that pyloric valve and where the common bile duct and pancreatic duct come in. So this is a fairly small area, and we take our little surgical stapler and we dissect around this, and we transect or divide that duodenum. Now, when we do a bypass up above on the stomach, it's a gastric bypass. This is a duodenal switch because we're doing the bypass actually from the duodenum. It's just a few inches further along, but anatomically it's got a different name. Now you can see down below the small bowel emptying into the colon down below. The small bowel is highlighted. With the old duodenal switch, this far end segment of small bowel was less than 3 feet long. Now a 3 meter or 3 yard long piece of bowel is used, and this is why we avoid a lot of the diarrhea complaints that people have with the older style duodenal switch. And we avoid some of the malnutrition issues that can go along, we believe, and although that has not yet been proven, that some of the calcium and fat soluble vitamin absorption will be better with a longer piece of bowel. Here you can see now an opening is made in the small bowel down below, and that is connected to the duodenum. That is an anastomosis, any attachment. And you can also see that we don't do what's called a Roux-en-Y anatomy, where we divide this lower small bowel and hook it in, and that's a whole nother component that we can avoid. So you can see on the right that food goes out of that little sleeve stomach, that tubular stomach, and just into that lower 3 meters of bowel, and it no longer goes through this area, which is colored yellow. What is going through there, though, is bile, which tends to sweep out any bacteria and prevent what we call stasis or slow flow, where bacteria can overgrow. So now this bile, which has come alone through the upper small bowel without any food present, joins the food as it drops into the small bowel from that stomach. They mix together and you start absorbing food from there. With that longer piece of small bowel down below, though, your body has more time to reabsorb nutrients and fluid. So again, probably less diarrhea than we saw with the old, very short-circuited bowel with traditional duodenal switch operation. This illustration gives us a better view of the two ways that duodenal switch helps improve your satisfaction at the end of meals and also prevents hunger from coming back quickly between meals. The removal or resection of ghrelin-producing stomach removes one of the major hunger hormones via that first part of the operation. The second part, though, having food empty into the lower small bowel, stimulates cells that also help regulate food satisfaction and hunger. With our current laparoscopic tools, while this may look very complicated, it's actually fairly easy to perform. If you'd like to find out more about any of these procedures, please come see us at the Bariatric Medicine Institute.